Okay, we'd like to welcome you to the virtual training, and this training is for experienced coaches or teachers, people that already know how to play the mathematics pentathlon games, and it will show you how to teach the games virtually. The people that we have with us today, Mary Delregado. She is the president of the Institute. We have Chris Maurer in the light blue. She works with the Austin group. We have Patricia Umbarger, who works with the Austin group as well. She's in the dark colored pie shirt. And myself, I'm Renee LeBlanc. I'll be hosting it, and I'll also be moving the pieces, etc., while Dr. Gilfeather gives directions. When doing virtual trainings, especially with the use of board games like Mathematics Pentathlon, it's really key to have the right webcam, the right stand, and there are a lot of different options. And these are some of the things that I found out there, and I'm going to recommend to you what I feel is best. First of all, the camera. There are different kind of webcams out there, and they range from $19 on up. The ones that we use with the Pentathlon Institute are the smaller versions of webcams. They're fairly simple. This one just happens to have a little lid on it that you can open and close for privacy. Most of them don't come with that. We have tried different types of cameras. The 480p do not get a 480p. So you are going to need 1080. So this is one that works well. It's just a next to go. It's a 1080, 1080p. Any 1080p should work just fine. The second part that you're going to be looking at is the stand and the connections to the stand. This one here is a tripod connection. It has a little screw on the end of it. It works well with the little webcam, but if you buy the webcam, you have to make sure it has a tripod connection to it. Once you set it up, a little more difficult to get off and on. Some of these actually do come with different connections. So if you wanted to, you could take this one off, put this one on, would be able to hold a phone. It stretches out, you put your phone in it. Now the stand that I prefer the most, it does have a long arm, but at the bottom, I really like this clamp. It's just a simple hand. You screw it up, screw it down to clamp it onto either the desk you're at or a shelf above the desk. It has a very long extension on it, but on the end of it, what I really like is this clamp right here. And what this clamp does, you pull it back. It's made for phones, but you can also very easily take a webcam and simply insert it either this way, like this, or if you want a little bit more flexibility, you can open this up a little bit and you can put it in here like this. Then you have room to move your camera around, and these cameras twist also, which help with getting the right angle on your game board and game pieces. Most people don't know this, but most of these cams have a little outside silver area, have two little notches in it on each side. Those little notches are for fine focus. So you can turn those just a little bit and it will help to get your focus in a little bit better. And here's another way to set up the games used for virtual teaching.
All right, what we've done here is we've taken an iPhone, and if you go in as the host and you switch the cameras back and forth, that will allow you to zoom in and out to the game to get the size you want. And we have built ourselves a stand out of PVC pipes.
And are you using a iPad, a webcam, a phone? What are you using to do this with?
We're using an iPhone for this one. We've also used an iPad. The iPhone does seem to do a better job, but I think any phone camera will do.
And the iPad will also zoom in and zoom out if you just take it and do like the selfie mode and then go back to the normal camera?
Yes.
So the first thing we're going to do is email the SCDs, the links for the labels, as well as the scripts, and then we'll also have them posted on our website. Let's take a look at the Fire game board. You can see that it's pretty much the same, except for we have some coordinate labels, 1 through 9, as well as A through G. and of course a set of chips, both the blocking and non-blocking chips. All right, and we have a script for all of our experienced coaches. Okay, you can see a picture of the board, and then also some key things that you're going to need. You're going to need a 20 by 30 foam board, which is great because it allows you to put the board and the materials on there, and it works for all of the game boards. You're going to download those coordinate labels from our website, and then you're going to print and place them as you just saw. Now there's going to be 3 issues that we're going to deal with to teach it virtually, first to you, but really for you to teach it to your math pentathlon students. There's going to be chip selection, chip placement, and chip movement. And there's going to be underneath that, you're going to see specific, we call it virtual directionality terms. It's going to be up, down, left, right, and diagonally up in both left, right directions. And those are the terms that we found useful. As this evolves with your club, you might find other ways to do it. So we're just trying to jump in and give you a way to go about it initially.
I know we're not going to teach the full game here. This is just for the virtual coaches who already know how to play the game. But if we were going to start the game, we would say we'd select the starting color. Let's say it's blue. Someone would shake them in their hands. Mary, would you like the one on the right or the left?
I'll take the one on the left.
Okay, and the blue is going to start. So on the left, it's blue. So Dr. Gilfeather will start. And if we were playing in a group of 4, what we would have is 2 of us would be on one team, 2 of us would be on another team. If you're the teacher, if you had more than that, you would just divide up the kids, or you'd have a small group play. But right now, we're just going to play like we were playing virtually with 4 people. So Mary's going to give all the directions here, and let's begin.
I'm going to first deal with the chip selection, and I'm going to indicate to the host, Renee, if it's a blocking or a non-blocking type of chip. So let's do a non-blocking. And then I'm going to tell the host where I want it placed, since we're dealing with phase 1 of the game. Now, that's where these labels for the coordinate labels are important. So your numbers are your rows, and they go across, and we'd always say the number first, and then the second coordinate are your letters. Those go down, and we would say the letter coordinate second. So Renee, I would like you to place that chip on 4E. So,
and then the person who is working the camera or hosting would ask if that's correct. So the 4.
You've got the 4 going across, and we always say the numeral first, and then the letter second going down or vertically.
And we'll just divide the teams up. Mary and Chris, you 2 are on the same team, and Patty and I will be on the different team. So I'll go next, and I will say we are red. I want to place a non-blocking chip, which is one without the dot. I'm going to place it on 6C. I'm going to put it right there. So the 6 is there, and the C is there. And then I'm going to pass the flag card. One of the things that we do want to say during club, but we'll get into that when we get to the instructional side, is the passing of the flag card.
Okay, and I will choose a non-blocking chip, please. And I would like that placed on 4C, please. That is correct.
As you can see, the host is going to point to both the number and the letter to make sure that the participant agrees with the placement. And then, of course, the host places the chip.
Okay, I would like to place a blocking chip on 3D. Correct.
And Patty, of course, would say pass the flag card. It'd go down. Now it's red's turn, so we pass the flag card to red. for moving. I'm going to say I would like to move the chip, the red chip that is in 4B. So I point to that, B. And I could mention the coordinates. I wanted to go to 7B. Or I could say I want to move it down 3 spaces. So you have a little bit of options there. If I'm moving it down 3 spaces, I'd point to it and then say okay, and then I would pass the flag card.
I would like you to move my blue blocking chip from 5A to 6A.
From here to here,
Yes.
and pass the flag card. So Mary used the coordinate movement.
Okay, I would like to move, let me see, 3C.
And what's nice is when they're telling me this,
Mhm.
I'm actually following the exact coordinates and I'm going to point to it to make sure I'm on the right spot.
Okay,
Because I'm the only one that can control the game board because I have the camera and the board. So for this
Okay.
one, where would you like to
yeah,
move?
let's do it diagonal to the left on 5A.
Diagonal to the left.
Down, yes.
5. And I know it's down because there is no diagonal up. So 5, is that correct?
Yes. Pass the flag card.
Nice.
Okay, I would like you to move 6G as in gopher
Okay.
to 4G as in gopher. That's correct. Pass the flag card.
There we go.
So fire is pretty basic once you use your labels with the coordinates for numbers as well as letters. You're just dealing with the placement phase as well as the movement phase and using those coordinates to move your chips. Now we'll begin with the virtual teaching of Par 55. And we'll be looking at the setup for this. And you can see this is a little different than how we've done it with in-person teaching. We have labels that you, again, will be able to download and print out. On the left and above, you can see that we have the thick blocks organized into large and small. And then below that, we have all the thin blocks, again, organized into large and small. And then we found to be very helpful to have a show box. Once the students identify or select the block, it's going to be placed in that area. And then to the right, we have our game board, pawns, and the flag card on the far right. This diagram will be shown in your script, which will be helpful to all of you experienced coaches. There's again the diagram. Now you notice that that's on black foam board, but you could also put it on white as we're demonstrating today. Now, what also is very important to teach this game when you're doing it virtually is to place some dots on all thick blocks so that they're not struggling when they're seeing it virtually to determine if they're thick or they're thin. We chose a bright green, but whatever works for you to differentiate the thick blocks from the thin blocks. And we've already talked about how they're organized in the bank, small and large. So now we're going to demonstrate how block selection, placement, and movement of the pawn works. If we're trying to stress directionality terms, they're pretty similar to what we've done with the other games. We're looking at up, down, and left and right.
Okay, so we're going to split up into teams of 2, and Chris and I in the light blue will be on one team, and Mary in the red and Patty in the black will be on another team. Chris, let's you and I start. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the first move for our team. So I'm going to select the thick, large, red triangle and put it in the show box. Just let everybody know that that's one I'm going to pick. And the starting piece always goes on the gold star. So I'm going to put that there. And then I'll select another piece. I'll select the small, thin yellow circle within the show box. I'm going to place that directly below the red triangle. Place it right here. The differences that I have between the two are 4, so I'm going to move the blue pawn because we're blue. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'll move the pawn onto that spot. I'll pass the flag card to the red team, and now it's Mary and Patricia's turn.
Okay. Patty, do you want to go ahead and take a turn for us?
Sure. I will choose the small, thin square with a color blue.
Is that correct?
Yes. I will place that blue square on the bottom left of the triangle.
That's good.
So right here?
Correct.
Okay.
Then we will move 6 spaces.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that correct?
Correct. Now pass the flag card.
All right, now it's Chris's turn.
I will choose a thin, small, blue hexagon.
Is that correct?
That is correct. And I would like you to place it to the lower right of the large red triangle.
So right here?
That is correct. And the differences are 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Correct?
That is correct.
And one of the things that one of our participants was saying one time is pentathletes at home can use their mouse, their little arrow key, to count along with us.
I like that. That's nice.
And please pass the flag card.
All right. I would like to select the large, thick, yellow square and place that to the upper right of the red triangle.
Up here?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's a total of 6. So you can go ahead and move the pawn 6 spaces.
Correct?
That is correct.
If one were to bump another, let's say we just happened to get 2, Chris, you and I got 2, and we landed on this, would the pentathlete have to say we bumped them back 5 spaces?
Yes, the pentathlete would need to say, I bumped my opponent back 5 spaces.
And then the host would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And move the pawn back 5 spaces.
Stress, as it relates to the bump rule, is when a pawn is being bumped, the team doing the bumping must tell the host that they are moving the pawn back 5 spaces. The host will then point and then verify with the participant.
And now it's Red's turn, and we just wanted to show you one more thing that may come up in play. If the opponent passes 55, they have a choice to move forwards or backwards. So the pentathlete who's playing needs to let the host know after they place the piece which way they're going to move. So if they had a piece that was 4 ways different, they would have to say, move my pawn 4 spaces back, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 4 spaces forward, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let the host know which way they wanted to move. Action.
And now we'll move on from fire to some dominoes and dice.
So here we have the Some Dominoes and Dice game board and the bank of dominoes to the left, as well as player A and player B's hand of 7 dominoes. And then you have the transparent container for the dice. And that's really nice as far as the host shaking the dice for the participants. And then also you have your sum flag card to the right. So now we're going to look at the script that we have for our coaches to help them teach this to their clubs virtually. And so here we have the script for coaches and teachers who are going to virtually teach the game to their students or pentathletes. And you can see the diagram of the board and the setup. And again, the white 20 by 30 foam board, which is great for getting all the materials on in the same area. And you've got the dimensions for the container that's transparent for the dice. And then you download player A and player B labels and print them in places we've shown. And the issue here is domino selection. So participants are going to describe if it's a non-double domino placement. They're just going to give the two values, the two different values of the domino. And if it's a double domino, then they'll just say it's a double, whatever that value might be. And of course, the doubles are always attached by their midside. Also, what's important here virtually is that for the sum flag card, the player states the sum and the host records the sum and verifies that it's correct. And the player asks the host to draw a domino, and then the host passes the sum flag card to end the turn.
Now, Mary, can you describe for us, just give us an example of how dominoes are placed on the board? How would you go about describing to me how I would place that domino on the board for you?
End of 5 to side of 3 up.
Correct?
Correct.
What if I wanted to place it, I guess, if I wanted to place it down, I would just say down. Or end to end, as we all know, is just end to end.
Yes.
I guess it could be left or right depending on where you're on the board. Does that sound correct?
Yes, it does. Sounds great.
So what we're going to do is we're going to divide our team up into teams of 2, and we're just going to play this game and show you how it's done virtually. So Chris and I will be on one team, and Patricia and Mary will be on the other team. So first, of course, we roll to see who goes first. Chris and my roll, we have 6. Patty and Mary's roll, they have 8. So Chris and I will go first. Chris, why don't you go ahead and take the first turn?
Okay.
So I wrote 6 down for Chris and I, and I'm going to show everybody that. I like doing that because sometimes people might not have a large enough screen to see the 6 over here. So each time I write something, I'm going to bring it up front for everybody to see.
That's helpful.
And we're player A, Chris, so I'll let you take the first turn.
Okay. So I would like to use the 1-5 domino,
This one?
please. And I would like you to put the end of 5 to the end of 1.
So just the end of 5, the one I'm playing off of first, the end of 1.
That's correct.
That's correct. And then we get our roll as a 9. So I'm going to select the 4-6 domino, and I'm going to place it off of the end of the 5. And I will place the 4 using its side, and I'll have the 6 going up. I finished my second part of my turn, so I'm going to draw a domino, and I will pass the flag card to player B.
All right. Go ahead and select the 3-9 domino. And I'd like you to take the end of 0 and attach it to the side of 9 down.
3 going down. Just like that.
Correct.
And it's important for the host to ask the player that it's placed correctly.
Okay, so I have now a 9 again, and this time I'm going to look at my dominoes. I can play off of the 3. I've got a double 6. So I think I'm going to use that one. If you would take the double 6 domino And now if you would attach it to the end of 3 by its mid side.
Is that correct?
Yes. So in this instance, I took both parts of the turn, and that's one way to do it. And then on the following turn, my partner could take both parts of the turn. Or as you saw with Renee and Chris, one of them took one part of the turn and the other took the other part of the turn. So it's your choice either way. What else is to be done but to pass the flag card?
So I see that we have to play off of player B's 9, 3-5, a 3-1, and a 3-7. I'll choose the 3-7 domino, please. And I'd like to place that on the end of the right side of the 6 double.
Over here?
Yes, and I'd like the 3 to be matched with the end of that 6. So end to end, please.
Just like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll roll the dice. And I can hold like this so they can see probably a little bit better.
And we got a 10. So now we can play off of that 7, and 7 plus 3 is 10. So I'd like you to choose the 3-5 domino, please. And I'd like the end of the 7 to go to the side of the 3, pointing down.
Okay.
Perfect. And that will end my turn. I'd like you to draw a domino and pass the flat card.
Now Patty, representing player B, will take her turn.
I would like to choose the 7-4 domino.
This one?
Yes.
Okay.
And I would like to place the end of 6 on the top of the game board.
Okay.
Yes, the end of 6 with the side of 4 going left.
Well, like that?
Yes.
Okay. So we've just demonstrated from the center, placing it going down, inside down. We've shown a double domino being placed into middle. We've shown one going up, and we've shown one going left. And that's the directional terminology that you'll be working with in some dominoes and dice with the kids.
So this is the way to teach some dominoes and dice virtually. And we've heard some nice feedback from coaches about how it also enhances instruction as far as directionality, left, right, up, down, as well as communication skills, which are so important for everything.
And now we're moving on to Cuatro Cinco.
Cuatro Cinco is one of the simplest games to teach virtually. All you need are the chips and the game board and the flag card as you would do in person. You don't need any other labels. Let's say the red team begins. So the red team would just describe the number of the chip they're going to move and ask the coach to then either move the chip up, down, left, right, or diagonally up to the left, diagonally up to the right, diagonally down to the left, diagonally down to the right.
So we're just going to show a little example of gameplay here. Teams this time, I guess, will be Mary and I. Chris and Patty will be the other team. Let's just start off the game. We'll be red, and Chris and Patty can be blue. Do the first move, Mary. What's her first move being red?
Let's go ahead and move the 2 chip directly down.
Right there.
Yes.
Then we pass the flag card to the other team.
I would like to move the number 3 chip diagonally down to the right. Yes.
There.
Pass the flag card.
All right, it's our turn. It's red's turn. I will move the 6 chip to the right, which ends my turn, and I'll pass the flag card.
And I would like to move the 9 chip diagonally up to the right.
Diagonally up to the right.
Correct. Pass the flag card.
I'd like you to move the 2 chip up diagonally to the left. Yes.
So basically, the movement here is fairly simple. It's only one space, and the students just need to know right, left, up, down, diagonally up to the right, diagonally up to the left, diagonally down to the right, diagonally down to the left.
And now we'll begin with Ramrod.
For the virtual teaching of Ramrod, the labels that you can see are particularly important. And we're going to be stressing the 3 major areas of the board. You have the goal area, the starting area, the purple playing area, and that's where all the action takes place. And you also have something that's important to refer to as far as directionality, and that is the central rectangle. And when we start to describe movement, we'll talk about it being either above or below the central rectangle. You'll notice we also have the labels for player A and player B, so we can differentiate the 2 players. And of course, the flag card. And now we're going to take a look at the Ramrod script, because this strategic game has a lot to it, and some of the pre-activities are going to be important, not just conceptually, but also for virtual playing of the game. So here is the script for Ramrod, and you can see again the diagram for placing all of the labels. And what's important here, pre-activities, what is very important, in addition to knowing the values of the rods, with 1 being the least and orange being the greatest value, 1 through 10, are the values of the purple playing area, the white sum rectangles. So the centimeter lengths of each one of those is critical, not only for the conceptual level, but also the virtual level. Once I go over the values of the purple playing area, we'll be getting into rod movement. And that's why it's so important to differentiate between the goal area, starting area, and purple playing area. So when the participant or player is trying to describe a particular movement, they need, first of all, to identify which area they're moving from. Is it going to be from the starting area? Is it going to be from the purple playing area? Or if it's from the central rectangle? Okay, let's go back and look at the actual board. Let's just review the centimeter lengths of the white sum rectangles in the purple playing area. If you look at the longest rectangle, if you put your white rod and your orange rod together in that rectangle, that would measure 11 centimeters. And then going down 1 rectangle from that, it is 1 centimeter less than 11, which makes it 10 in length. And then underneath that, it's 9 centimeters. Moving over towards the right, you have 8 centimeters. Now you can kind of eyeball and see that there's a difference of 2 centimeters from the 8 rectangle to the 6 rectangle below it, and a difference of another 2 centimeters for the 4 rectangle below the 6 rectangle. And then finally, we have 2 other rectangles we need to know the lengths of, and you have 6 on the left and then 3 to the right of that, 3 centimeters. Now, if you know the values on one side of the board, the one that we just worked with, then what's nice is you know the values of the rectangles on the other side of the board, since it's rotationally symmetric.
Okay, let's start playing. But before we play, I just want to give you a quick reminder, because I'm the host and I need to know which rod that you're going to be moving, where you're moving it from, and where you're moving it to. So always state where you're moving it from first, the area first. So I'll be moving, let's say, in the starting area, I'll move the yellow rod to the 6th position. I'll ask the player if that's okay. They'll give confirmation, and then they'll say pass the flag card. So let's begin. Let's say Patricia and I are on a team, and Mary and Chris are on the other team. And let's have Chris take the first move. And Chris, you and Mary will be player A.
Okay. I would like you to move the orange rod out of the starting area for player A and move it into the 11 rectangle, please, in the purple playing area.
Is that correct?
That is correct. And you may pass the flag card, please.
Perfect. Patty?
I would like to move from the starting area, the number 2 rod located on the far left.
So this one here?
Yes, to the 6th rectangle.
Is that correct?
Yes, and pass a card.
Beautiful. Mary, it's your turn.
From the starting area, I'd like you to move the red rod above the yellow rod.
Right here?
And correct. Move that to the 4 rectangle.
Would be right there. And Mary, I like the way you said that. You said above the yellow. Patty used to the left. So there's different terminology you can use to help me identify what piece you like.
Yes, that's right.
So is that correct?
That is correct.
And Mary passes the flag card. I'm going to move from the purple playing area. I'm going to move the red rod in the 6th rectangle into the central rectangle. And I'll pass the flag card.
Out of the starting area, I would like you to move the white rod that is even with the brown rod to the 6th rectangle.
Up here?
Yes, please. And please pass the flag card.
I would like to move from the purple playing area, the orange rod, down to the 10 value.
Is that correct?
Correct.
And our team passes the flag card.
Would you move from the central rectangle, the red rod, into the 3 rectangle below the central rectangle?
That?
Correct. And pass the flag card.
Very good. And now we're just going to do a quick demonstration of a capture. I'm going to move from the purple playing area now, the 1 rod from the 6th rectangle into the 3 rectangle to the right of it. And that would be a capture, and I would state capture. I would pick those rods up and I would put them in my goal area. And the student would have to let the host know that it is a capture. The student would also have to let the host know to put them in the goal area. And then I would pass the flag card.
Out of the purple playing area, I would like for you to please move the 3 rod that is below the central rectangle into the central rectangle.
Okay, so move this one into the central rectangle.
Yes, please.
Okay,
And then pass the flag card.
perfect. Patty, it's your turn.
I would like to move from the central rectangle, the yellow rod, back to the starting area on the 10 value.
So the yellow rod from the central playing area back, all the way back to the 10 area right there,
Yes.
the starting area.
And now pass a flag card.
Very good.
So these plays have demonstrated how to play Ramrod virtually, and also the importance of the students knowing the values of the rods as well as the values of the some rectangles in the purple playing area.